Welcome! My name is Lagatha Scarlet, and today I am here to review the Star Wars Tarot. So I am super excited to review this tarot card deck. So the Star Wars Tarot is a deck designed by a group called Our Daily Magic. They run a store through Etsy.com where they offer a Star Wars tarot card deck, an Avengers inspired tarot card deck, a Matrix inspired tarot card deck, a Disney inspired tarot card deck, a Black Panther inspired tarot card deck, and the last time I checked they had also added a Nightmare Before Christmas inspired tarot card deck. So I really like this shop because one, they have a huge variety of pop culture tarot card decks available. So the Star Wars Tarot is my absolute favorite Star Wars inspired tarot card deck that I've been able to find for several reasons. One of the reasons why I like this Star Wars deck better than some of the others I've seen is because it's actually offered as a full tarot card deck. So you can see here there is a totally complete 78 card deck, Major and Minor Arcana included. The other reason that I really like this deck is that the artwork is very, I'm going to use the word mature, so to speak, and it's very artistic. So you can see here that the artwork is done using a line drawing style. So I believe the shop description refers to these as line drawings, and then the lines are digitally enhanced or cleaned up with a computer program, so the image is better for printing on cards. I really like this art style because a lot of the Star Wars card decks that you see online or you see available for sale have a very cartoony style artwork, or I don't want to insult anyone, but the artwork is just not the most fabulous, or it's not an art style that resonates with me. It's probably a better way for me to say it. So the cards themselves, I think, are actually very well constructed. They are very thick and they're slightly laminated. So I really enjoy that aspect of it because, and you may hear this some in the background, I have 4 cats. And they seem to always manage to find a way to walk across my cards and leave weird little sketchy footprints that I hope has nothing to do with the cat litter they use. But anyway, so in a laminated kind of card like this, I feel a little bit more secure that the card's going to hold up. And when I say laminated, I just mean that you can tell that the card is kind of coated in something. It's not slippery and doesn't have like a really plasticky feel. It just doesn't have that matte paper texture that some other cards will have on it. When you receive the card deck, it comes in its own little velveteen bag. And one of the things that really sets this deck apart is that in addition to the cards being in the bag, you also get this little booklet right here. And this booklet is actually a list and little booklet that shows a picture of the cards and has a descriptor of the card meetings right alongside it. So I think this is a super unique feature because most pop culture decks either don't come with their own booklet at all, or decks, more traditional decks, will come with like a full little book or pamphlet. And it's just a little bit inconvenient because if you do want to keep the card meetings with you, you have to haul whatever that is around. And this fits right along with the cards in the bag that they send with you. So I really was excited about that feature because I like to carry my cards around with me. As I flip through the cards, you'll see a lot of characters that are from the prequels, but you'll also see like the Empress is a depiction of Leia Organa from the newer movies. You'll also see Finn included as well. There's going to be Jyn from Rogue One, and BB-8 is even included as well, along with Snoke. So I really like the way that the artist chose to incorporate all of the different movies that they could into the card artwork. In the Etsy description, the artist is very forthcoming with the fact that some of the cards may correspond with the traditional Rider-Waite meanings. However, some of the characters and artwork they choose to put on certain cards may deviate pretty substantially from the cards that you're used to. I'm going to move on to the Minor Arcana. Now, the Minor Arcana is really done in, and I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but I believe it's Tarot de Marseille or Marseille. And this is a tarot system where only the court cards, such as the King of Cups, Queen of Cups, the Knight, and the Page, are illustrated. The other Minor Arcana cards in that suit are called the pip cards. So when I realized that only the court cards were illustrated, I kind of panicked initially because I'm not a super confident tarot card reader. So I was initially like, oh my goodness, I'm never going to be able to use these cards. However, lots of Googling led me to realize that having a deck like this really allows your readings to be deeper and more creative than they would be otherwise. So whenever you have a deck that has pip cards that are depicted in this way, instead of having an illustration to kind of lead you to the exact meaning, you have two choices. Choice number one, you can choose to take the Rider-Waite meanings for the Minor Arcana cards and just use them for the pip cards. And that's absolutely fine if that's what you want to do. However, alternatively, you can use the pip cards to read a little bit differently. And that doesn't mean you have to have an in-depth knowledge of numerology per se, but you can use your feelings to more intuitively guide the reading. So for example, intuitively, if you see one cup by itself, that is something that's, by itself, it's single, it's solitary. One is going to be the first number as you begin to count upwards. So that could signify the beginning of something. If you take the number 4, for example, the number 4 could signify something that's more stable. So for example, a table with 4 legs or different things like that. And so you can kind of use those feelings about the number, or if you're into basic numerology, use that knowledge to add a different layer of depth to the cards. If that's not something that you're comfortable with or something that you know very much about, what I have done in preparation for this review is I have gathered some resources and some web pages that talk a little bit more about that. So please do not let the fact that the Minor Arcana has pip cards done this way deter you from purchasing this deck. Because really, if you are into tarot cards, there comes a time when I think everybody needs, now that I've done it, needs to branch out and get at least one of this type of deck. Because you may discover that it works for you and adds a totally different layer of insight to your tarot card readings. So if you check the description of this video, I've included some resources that you can kind of check into to learn a little bit more about why cards done this way are a little bit awesome. So working with these sellers was a very enjoyable experience. They were very responsive to messages. Anytime I had questions about my order or questions about shipping, they were very quick and forthcoming to respond to them. One thing to keep in mind is, from what I can tell from the Etsy store, it looks like this shop either orders small batches of cards at a time, or they may print the cards with each order. So just keep that in mind. So if you're ordering it for like a gift or for Christmas or some kind of particular holiday or deadline, just communicate with the seller beforehand so that you're really clear on when to expect that order, because the seller is really great about communicating with you. So if you're unsure at all, just ask. because I'm not entirely sure if it's made to order with every order, or if they keep some small stock, or if it just depends on how much they have on hand when you place your order. So definitely I recommend checking the shop out on Etsy. Our Daily Magic also has a website and I believe a radio show. I'm not sure if it's a radio show or a podcast, but if you check the description of this video, I include links to all of that. And if you have any questions about this deck, feel free, or my experience with it, feel free to ask me in the comments section or reach out directly to the seller. And please remember, if Star Wars isn't your thing, they have decks inspired by the Black Panther, Disney, The Nightmare Before Christmas, the Avengers, the Matrix. Oh, and I forgot, they also have an Avatar inspired deck. So definitely check this shop out if you are interested in delving into some pop culture deck needs.